Hey guys, so I know I haven't made a video in a while, but I was thinking that today I could talk about the lesson of the ego because it's been coming up a lot for me lately through watching other people's videos or through my own personal life. And as I'm talking to other people, I'm starting to notice, or even do my own self reflection, I've been starting to notice a lot about what creates the ego and how the ego affects your daily life and your ability to self-heal. I've been focusing a lot on that. It's been coming up a lot for me, so that's what I thought I'd talk about for today's video, especially because I haven't uploaded in forever, and now Easter's coming up, so things are starting to get a bit busier, so I wanted to get a video done so that I'm not so behind on my channel, and because I know that people do look forward to my videos and the lessons that I teach, and I have not been doing videos so much, so I feel kind of bad about that. But and apart from that, YouTube makes me so happy, so I love making videos and I will continue to make videos. And yeah, but other than that, to get more into the video, basically what the ego is, there is a misconception out there as it is like people think that an ego is just like being self-centered and whatever, and in a way that can be a form of ego and that is part of the ego. But the ego with spiritual teachings is basically your own worst enemy. So the side of you that has the insecurities, the side of you that has the doubts, the side of you that holds the grudges on other people or situations, or self-hate and self-blame, all of those things come from the ego. And so how that affects your ability to self-heal and your daily life is that because we are not taught about these things naturally as we're growing up in school by our parents, nobody teaches us that these things at all, that the ego will keep us from succeeding in life. It will keep us from being happy. It will keep us from having the ability to self-heal. Like, of course, you can still succeed in all of that, but you're not really going to feel successful because at the end of the day, you're still going to have the problems that you have not been willing to face because your ego has shelled you from that ability, right? And that's another thing about the ego is that it likes to kind of in a way keep you from discovering that you can kind of separate yourself from it. Of course, you can't fully like separate yourself from it. But the ego is basically something that we create from our perception from the outside world is basically what it is. So if a person hurts you and you feel you start to hate them and whatever, that comes from the ego, right? Not your heart, not your higher self. That is your ego. Same with if a bad thing happens to you and you sit there and dwell about it. That's your ego saying that you need to feel validated for what happened to you, or that that situation needs attention because of what happened to you. And so that's all from the ego. That all stems from the same place, and that is the ego. The ego is not such a nice place, but basically it is created based off of our experiences on this planet. And so it's kind of like a character in a way, is how a lot of people tend to describe it. It's kind of like our own personal avatar kind of thing. And so it's basically like our own character on Earth. It's not who we really are. It's not our higher self. It's not our soul. It's just how we perceive the outside world, basically. How we react to our surroundings and the people in our lives. It's basically all a character when we bring it into our reality. We act a certain way to live a certain life, and that's why the ego is not our higher self, because the ego is playing a character to fit into this world, right? Your ego is where all your insecurities come from, or your anger and resentment. All of that stuff comes from any negative emotion or belief that you can think of. That comes from your ego, and it's not bad to feel bad things or anything like that for a while. But the thing is that people that do not understand the ego for what it truly is, and that don't they haven't learned these lessons, what happens to them is that their ego is out of control, right? And it's really easy to have that happen, especially the more shit you go through in your life, and then you're unaware that you are actually acting off of your ego, not who you truly are. It's just a way that you kind of grown up, right? And in a way, it cannot be so great at the same time, because if you grew up in a toxic family, or you've had a lot of toxic relationships, or a bad job, or a few bad jobs, or just any bad experiences in your life that have really stuck with you till now, those things are related to the ego's perception, right? And so when you link yourself to hold on to those things, the ego doesn't want you to forget those things. So basically, we create this character based off of usually pain. Pain is a big one. Like, we see it all the time. We're all like claiming depressed, and like, aggression is even a form of the ego. We're all claiming that we have social anxiety, all of those things, PTSD, whatever, but it's all based off of the ego, right? The ego will tell us that we can't get over it, that we can't overcome it, especially without things like medication or other people. That is the ego saying that you're not good enough to do this or to do that. So it can be really discouraging for people that don't know this about themselves yet, is that because what can happen is that when they go to actually, say, achieve their goal at getting their dream job or whatever, they're not going to feel worthy enough, chances are, because their ego is stepping in the way, telling them that they're not good enough. And because not knowing these things, it makes it so much harder, because you're not going to have control over your ego, because you don't know that you can have control over your ego. And so that can be really frustrating. And I know it frustrates me a lot to see that people are suffering so much and that they're not willing to learn these things. But that's, again, everyone has their own journey. And that's, again, because they hold so much onto the past and their pain. And it's like, I know people do it unintentionally, but it is like, it does make it harder on the person. And it's really hard for me to personally watch people do that to themselves, because it's like, you're not helping yourself by holding on to the past. And I know it's a process, and I'm not saying that it's bad to go through the process, and it's not. You have to go through the process of pain, of grieving, and then getting through it and getting over it, getting past it. That is necessary, and I'm not saying that that's bad. That's a good thing. You need to do that, right? To heal. It's all a part of healing, right? But here's the thing. You hold on to it, you're not growing from it, you're not growing past it. And so not understanding these things, it's going to make everything a lot harder, especially with the shifts that we're going through right now collectively in the universe and on our planet right now. Is that with our personal lives, we are expanding mentally and physically. Our lives are constantly shifting, and there will always be shifts. But right now, specifically, people are really going on a fucking emotional roller coaster kind of thing, and everyone's either feeling really good or really bad, and it's constantly reoccurring, and things from the past start showing up. And this is why knowing these things is so helpful, and keeping up with energy updates and all of that, because the thing is that you're going to be going through so much fucking emotional cleansing, and you're not even going to be aware of it. So what happens when you're not aware of it is that you start rejecting that ability to heal, because you think, oh no, that person did that to me. Oh no, that situation did this to me. So you're kind of not allowing yourself to let it just flow and happen and move past it. And that can create a lot of resistance with self-healing. And so I really try to help people as much as I can to understand that, but some people just aren't ready to let go of things, and that's fine too. But the more you hold on to those things, it's only holding you back. It's not, it's not going to help you move faster and better your life any faster. And that's the thing, it's like even manifesting 24 hours. I know that this is kind of random, but it all kind of fits together in one whole thing, because the ego can keep you from even manifesting as well. Because if you let your ego have control, you're letting all of these negative emotions create your own reality, and your ego create your reality, rather than your actual higher self creating your reality. So creating your reality based off of love and light, you're not letting that happen. You're basing it off of, toxic beliefs and, past burdens that you've had or things that just are not meant for you, right? And it's going to keep you from dealing with things that you actually need to deal with on an emotional level. That's a big one with people, is dealing with emotional burdens, whether that's because of people or situations, doesn't matter. You have to get through it eventually. And the biggest fight is letting yourself, right? That's the hardest part of it all. It's not that it takes forever, and it doesn't have to take forever, but it takes forever because of our ego. Once again, it takes forever because our ego tries to shadow itself, to hide itself from our vision so that we can't actually perceive the problems that need to be solved. So we start to walk away from it as if there's no problem there because our ego acts like it is actually us, but it's actually just more like, again, a character. And this has to do with 24-hour manifestation too. Like, I really like to talk about this because so many people want to manifest things instantly. And I mean, like, who doesn't? Even I do. But the thing is that makes it seem so impossible is the fact that it takes a lot of sacrifice, right, and hard work. And the thing is that that's why it's a practice. That's why these are considered practices, because they are practices that we have to implement in our lives if we truly want to get better and achieve our goals in life. And so the thing is that with 24-hour manifestation, for example, your ego is going to get in the way a lot. Things like if the past resurfaces, you're going to have to be able to let go and just say that that doesn't affect you anymore, that you're no longer giving it power over you, right? And don't be fooled by that, because I noticed a lot of people are fooled by that, where they say that they're over it, but then they're still complaining about it 24/7, right? And it's like, that's not over it. That's just pretty much kind of in a way tolerating it. Like, you're kind of just saying you're okay with its existence, but you're not actually like okay with it. Still, you're not okay with it, and you still don't feel justified in that situation. So you're just kind of pushing it aside a little bit, but you're not saying that you're over it. Like, so basically, you're just saying that you're over it, but you're actually emotionally not, because if you were emotionally over it, you wouldn't waste your time talking about it. You wouldn't waste your time thinking about it, right? And so those are important key things to notice. And again, it's all part of a practice. Don't be hard on yourself if you can't get it on day 1 or day 2 or even in half an hour. I know everyone wants to be able to do that, and it's possible. I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's just very, very, very challenging. And I have yet to see a person do it that is new to spirituality, for instance. And that's a lot of the things too, is people will do the learning for a day or 2 days or even a week, even a month. But that's not everything that there is that you need to know, right? There's a lot of it, and I'm going to say basically all of it is emotional healing, letting go of what doesn't serve you, because that is the biggest burden and the biggest thing that is going to keep you from being able to achieve your goals in your life. So don't let your ego get in the way too much. I know that it's tempting and it's hard not to, because it is basically, the ego is like addictive behavioral patterns. So it's hard to gain control over those things. And then when we try to, the ego is going to try to fight you, right? The ego is going to try and say that there's no problem with that because this happened to you, so you have every right to stay angry and whatever, right? So it's going to try and trick you in many different ways depending on your situation especially. So I hope that this video wasn't too random, first of all, and I hope that it helped you also, give you some inspiration as to how you can help yourself in your life, and to not let your ego get in the way of your manifestations and your desires in your life. So if you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos. And also, as always, I will link my vlog channel in the description below this video.